Today is Bet Cheshvan, Taf Shin Pei Aleph. It is the yahrzeit of Umi, of Eva Rose Meyer, who was Umi to all of our children, and Mami to Dina, and Mami to me as well. And we're going to learn some Mishnah in her memory. We'll spell out her name, Chava. Her full name is Chava Bas Mindel. And the first letter, Ches, comes from the third parak of Bava Basra. Cheskas Habatim. The person wants to claim a chazaka on a house, meaning that he doesn't have the document of sale anymore, but claims that he doesn't need it because he's been there as a normal owner would be for a period of time that cannot be ignored. How long is that period of time? It depends upon what the place is. If it's a house, v'haboros, or it is a cistern, v'hashichin, trenches, v'hame'aros, caves, v'hashovachos, dovecotes, v'hamerchatzaos, bathhouses, uveis habadin, olive presses, uveis hashlachin, irrigated fields, v'ha'avadim, or servants, v'chol shehu osa piros tadir, anything which produces fruits on a regular basis. Cheskas on shalosh shanim miyom liyom. That means you'd have to be there consistently for 3 years to be able to then claim that you should be able to keep it, even though you cannot find the deed. In other words, the claim is I had a deed. It's not that I am squatting here so I'm entitled to it. I had a deed, but I don't have it anymore. But my fact that I was here and the person who says that they are the owner did not stop me, did not say anything for this amount of time, means that it must have been mine. Sdei Baal, if instead it was a type of food, which is a field which is irrigated by rain, that also takes 3 years, but it doesn't have to be completed 3 years. Rabbi Shmuel Omer, Shlosha Chadashim Barishona, Ushlosha Chadashim Ba'achrona, Ushneim Asar Chodesh Ba'emtza. Well, then how much does it have to be if it doesn't have to be completed? Rabbi Shmuel says a full year in between, 3 months before and 3 months after. So that really is 12 plus 6, really 18 months. Harishmana Asar Chodesh. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Chodesh Barishona, Chodesh Ba'achrona, Ushneim Asar Chodesh Ba'emtza. It's enough to have 1 month on either side, a total of 14 months. Hari Arba'a Asar Chodesh. Amar Rabbi Yishmael Bamed Devarim Amurim. But he said that only applies B'sdei Lavan, if you're dealing with a field that is sown with grain. Aval B'sdei Ilan, if it's instead an orchard. So then Kines es tevuaso mosak azesav kines es kitso, if you have harvested all of the produce from the various types of trees when they became ready, hare elu shalosh shanim, so that is considered already the equivalent of 3 years, because nobody would stand by and see that being done to their field without doing anything. Now the letter Vav. The Vav is the third parak of Maseches Moed Katan. Ve'elu megalchin b'moed. The following people are allowed to shave and take a haircut on Chol HaMoed because they weren't able to do it beforehand, because there was a pandemic going on or something which stopped them. In those days, these would be good excuses. Haba memedinas hayam. If you were traveling and coming from a faraway country and you're on sea journey and there wasn't a barber on board. Umi beis hashivyo, you just got released right before Yom Tov from captivity. V'hayotze mi beis ha'asurin, or you came out of jail and there wasn't enough time beforehand. V'haminuda she'etiru lo chachamim, or you were in excommunication and the chachamim only let you out. You only did whatever was necessary to get out and they let you out right before Yom Tov. V'chein mi she'nishal l'chacham v'chutar, or somebody would have taken a neder not to get a haircut, and only close to Yom Tov had asked, bin matir neder through a chacham. Or someone who was a Nazirite who wasn't supposed to cut their hair or shave, or somebody who was a Mitzora and likewise was restricted, and only right before Yom Tov the period of the Nazirus elapsed, or the purification process involving the cutting of the hair and the permission to cut the hair came for the Mitzora. That is the Vav, and here comes the Hey. The Hey is that famous Mishnah in the second perek of Maseches Brachos. Hayakore b'Torah v'higia zman hamikra. If a person was reading in the Torah, and the time for saying Shema arrived, im kiven libo yotza v'im lav lo yotza. If he had kavanah to be yotzei Shema, he was yotzei Shema, but if not, he cannot be. The Gemara says, depending upon your position regarding whether mitzvos require intent, require kavanah. In times of kavod, we do everything intent, but even in those days, if you say that mitzvos require intent, so clearly this says you have to have intent. But if you say normally they don't require intent, so the kavanah here then is kavanah to read the words, because maybe you are a sofer, and you were only saying the words with checking the Torah and perhaps not even pronouncing them correctly, but now you intended to actually read them as words, so then you would be Yotzei. And this would logically happen when somebody is preparing Kriyas HaTorah on Shabbos V'Eschanan, where you have the paragraph of Shema. And before Shul, you're reading it. And it happened to me this year, and I had kavanah not to be Yotzei because I intended to be in Shul and be able to say it with the Birchos Kriyas Shema. And I didn't want to lose that out, and so I had kavanah not to be Yotzei. Ba'prokim, Shol Ibnei HaKavod U'Meishiv, Uva Emtza Shol Ibnei HaYira U'Meishiv. The rest of the Mishnah deals with when you can interrupt your Kriyas Shema, and where you can interrupt it in order to ask or answer people who are seeking to see how you are. So if you're between paragraphs of Shema and its brachos, you can ask somebody that you would have to respect how they are, and you can answer them as well. And in the middle of a perek, you can ask only someone you must fear, and you may respond to them. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, his is a little more graded and a little bit more permissive. In the middle of a perek, you may ask someone whom you must fear, and you may answer somebody whom you must respect. But in between paragraphs, you may ask anyone that are you obligated to give kavod to, and you may respond to the greeting of anybody, whomever. And we certainly I learned from Umi's friendliness and her willingness to accept me into the family, how important it is to return or to ask after people and to accept them and to respond to their overtures when they try to become a member of the family. And Mirza Hashem, may Umi's neshama have an aliyah and go higher and higher in the realms of Gan Eden, together with Upa and all of her wonderful ancestors, her mother and her father, whom she had to leave at such an early age and was separated from her father from his early passing. Tehei nishmasot tzrura b'tzror hachayim.